I am so happy with how this looks for the Rangers. We have a pitcher, Jack Leiter, and he is a dude.
And while I do think his hitting is worse than Derek Jeter, it's not that far off.
You're not mentioning 2006. You can mention the other people, not 2006.
Oh, just because I bought the best soap doesn't mean your room's going to be clean. It just leaves it to where I don't believe that the Canadians had a shot.
I really don't like the Clippers just kind of sending it in when they're like,
Hi, this is Kelly Forbes with the Dallas Stars, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NHL Opinions of the Week. I'm Kevin, and I am joined by the podcaster, not the poet, Austin. You could be a poet, but right now you're a podcaster.
I don't think I'm too much of a poet, but Edmonton's poetically turned it around, and we, like you mentioned before, had a video about their fall from grace at the beginning of the year, how we expect them to be much better than they were, and right now they're turning it around. They've won 16 straight. Like you told me beforehand, the record is 17, and the day this is posted, they will play Vegas. What's kind of crazy to me, Kevin, is that they're still third in their division. And if you go by points percentage, which I like to use, they're still second in that division. They're pretty far behind Vancouver. So even though they are going on this record-long streak, they have to keep it up for the rest of the year if they still want to make a good playoff push.
Yeah, and they were in a hole early. Chris, we talked about it when Chris Knobloch was hired. They were 3-9-1 under Jay Woodcroft. They brought in Chris Knobloch, which caused questions of, are they bringing this in for McDavid to keep him happy? How good has this been? Then I remember they went on a winning streak. Then they lost a couple. Do you want to guess so he's coached for 32 games. Tonight will be his 33rd. What is his record? Do you want to guess, Austin?
You said, so he's done 32 games?
He's done 32.
I know they've won a lot. 32. I'll go 24-8.
Pretty close. It is 26-6. No overtime losses.
Yeah, I know they only had one overtime loss, and that was like Jay Woodcroft's the loss that determined it all early in the year. But it really has been a great turnaround. But I still think they have a lot of holes to their team. Their defense, as well as scoring, they're still allowing a lot of goals sometimes. I know recently they've been good the last 3 games. Their goaltending has been much better. And they still haven't allowed more than 2 goals all that often. But I still think they have holes defensively that they are going to have to fix because they're just going on a hot streak with their goaltending that they did not have under Jay Woodcroft. And they're also playing really well with obviously McDavid and Draisaitl and all their other great players.
Yeah, and there are holes, and that's what made the coaching change so weird when it was like, you still have these holes. We brought up goaltending in that video, but maybe it's just a set of coincidences, or I feel there may have been a vibe change that Knobloch brought, but it's an impressive start to his coaching career. Even though it is a weird one, it's an impressive start. But yeah, this is a key test because Vegas too is a really good team. You brought up the standings, and so if they get a win, I'm gonna be like, man, that's crazy. For the listeners, it's 17 game winning streak. Austin, who is that set by? I'm gonna just test your hockey knowledge.
It was the Penguins, right?
Yes, Penguins. Do you want to go for the year, or do you just want to tap
91?
out now? Close.
90?
92-93.
Oh, I knew it was one of those years with Yager and Mario Lemieux.
Yeah, so do you think they tie it?
the first game after an All-Star break can be very challenging for either team, so I can see this going either way. Can you tell us who is home?
Let me look. Vegas will be home.
Okay, I think Vegas wins.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Because they've just been riding hot streaks. They really haven't faced too much in adversity this season, as we looked at the standings for Knobloch. And I just feel with Vegas too, they're rested. It's a tough matchup because I think it's going to be a tough task for them to beat a team like Vegas on this winning streak. Now, if it was the Blackhawks, I think, yes, they could tie it. But after this break, too, I think you made a great point with that. How do you get this up? So if they do it, huge credit to them. But what a season already it has been for the Oilers, where I believe they were second to last in the division when we did our first video on them. And now they're third. But they're in a playoff spot.
Yes, they are. But like I said, their season's had so much ups and downs, high highs, low lows. They're going to have to keep it up if they want to keep a playoff spot because you're not always going to win every game.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that could go into how does the coach, Chris, handle that? Because I'm trying to see, they've only lost 6 games, but I don't think there was a losing streak.
They had a 3-game losing streak.
Okay.
Actually, all 6 of their losses came on 2 separate 3-game losing streaks.
Okay. Does that count as adversity to you? 2-3-game losing streaks, or
I don't think the first losing streak they had won a couple games in a row and then they lost 3 straight. I don't see there, but maybe after you win, they won 8 straight and then lost 3 straight and now won 16 straight. So it's some adversity, but it always gets harder the later you get in the year, and I'm gonna have to see it come March or April.
all right? Yeah, I'm curious to see how this goes, and maybe they prove us wrong and they beat Vegas. I'll see if I can watch that game tomorrow night. So, another thing that I have a question for you. Do you think this hot streak can be replicated in the playoffs?
Are you saying could a team go 16-0 in the playoffs?
Yeah, or I don't know how many games, if you want to win.
16. That's 4
16.
times 4.
Okay, wow, would be exactly 16. Does this make them an even scarier team? Because we've seen them just click and go on this run.
You have to play
for
the
16.
same team 4 times. That's hard. In these streaks, you're not playing more than a team once or twice, maybe 3 times if it gets this long and you play 2 times at the beginning and 1 time at the end. But you really only do play twice. And 4 straight times against one team, it's really hard to sweep unless you have a much significant advantage. And I don't think it could ever be replicated by a team. The closest example, I believe, is the 2011-12 Kings. Let me search them up. They were an 8 seed, and they let me pull them up. They were an 8 seed, and I think they only lost. Oh, no, it was 13-14. It was 13-14. Nope, it wasn't. Okay, well, in 11-12, they were an 8 seed that ended up winning 16, and obviously because they won the cup, and only lost 4. That's a pretty good example, I guess. Let me check.
I'm pulling up some stuff too on their schedule, trying to see if they had just a crazy hot streak. Because it is impossible that a team would go 16-0, but this type of, like, what happens if a team goes 3, lose a game, and then they just win 1, then they face a new team, and they're just riding an insane hot streak.
Yeah. I mean, the last. It's really tough because there's a lot of these teams that will have two straight sweeps, and then lose a series or lose a couple games in a row. But
It looks
really,
like sorry.
you go.
It looks like the longest streak. I'm looking at the 2012-2013 season for the Kings. Their longest win streak was a 5-game winning streak earlier on in the season.
Yeah, and that was the year they didn't win the cup. That was in between. So 11-12, let me check them. So 13-14, which is the other year they won the cup, their longest win streak. They won 8, 13-14. And then 11-12, the most they won, I think, was 4. No, 6. They won 6 in a row. But that was towards the very end of the year. And they went through 3 coaches that year and still won a cup, which is pretty remarkable. But, like, if you go to Tampa and you look at them in the playoffs, if you go back to 21-22, 4, 5, they were just good all year. Like, they had multiple 5, 4, 4, 5 game win streaks, but they never went on like a crazy consecutive streak.
All right. So it's more the Oilers seem to be on the extreme of winning a lot, lose a couple, then winning a lot, and there's just no way of telling or viewing how that's going to help, if it's going to help them in the playoffs, or this could just be a regular season thing.
Yeah, it'll be a while before we see if they're truly made for the playoffs or not.
Yep. But until then, the Oilers play tomorrow coming off the break, and we think they fall short of tying the game-winning streak. If we want to go down the rabbit hole of if they somehow beat Vegas, they face the Ducks the next, they face them Friday. Wow, they got a little bit of a break. Because they'll face the Golden Knights Tuesday, then face the Ducks Friday.
Okay.
I think if they're somehow able to beat Vegas, I think they can set the record against the Ducks.
Is that game at home?
That is a good... No, it is at Anaheim.
Those road games are tough, especially knowing the streak is there. I could definitely see the Ducks winning.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go 50-50 on if they break the streak. Just because if they beat Vegas, then I have them winning.
Well, I don't think it's all that necessarily high. I'd say they have probably a 33% chance because even if they beat Vegas, going to Anaheim, and Anaheim they're not good, but they're not horrible either. They have some good players. And again, it's right after a break for a while, and that'll be the first game for Anaheim, so they'll be extremely well rested. So I could see it pulling either way.
Okay. All right. I'll toss this over to you and let you close it out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Please let us know if you guys think that Edmonton will break the record, and catch us in our next video.